It's that time of year, folks. One of my favorite videos to make is my personal top 20 rankings video of every coaster I've ridden so far. And this year, there'll be some newcomers that made putting this list together very difficult. After my trips to Pennsylvania and Florida, I was able to score 44 new credits in 2021. Which one of those will crack the top 20? Find out next. Hey everyone, this is Hale from Destination Thrills, and I have a very special video for you today. I'm counting down the top 20 roller coasters that I've ridden so far. And the reason I'm so excited for this video is that this is the exact content I used to love watching before I started this YouTube channel. So to be able to create my own personal ranking video is a lot of fun for me. And this year there are some big shakeups to the previous list that I revealed last off season. One of the biggest changes is that I decided to expand the countdown to 20 coasters from 15 because of all the new coasters I was able to ride in 2021. In 2021, I visited several new parks, including Universal Studios, Six Flags Over Georgia, Hersheypark, Dorney Park, Knoebels, and Waldameer. In addition to those new parks, I also added new credits like Mako, Jersey Devil Coaster, Steel Curtain, Mindblower, and Tigress. Now, as a reminder, this is just my opinion of my favorite coasters, and there will definitely be some things that you will disagree with. I tend to like out of control, ultra aggressive coasters that have amazing ejector airtime. Also, coasters that feature good variety, uniqueness, and longer durations have a special place in my heart. I especially like wooden roller coasters, even if they are rough. If they can provide me a great thrill, then I don't mind the pain. Elements that are fun but don't thrill me as much is speed, height, and positive G's. So coasters like Millennium Force and Kumba aren't gonna make this list. Currently, I only have 150 credits, so some of the top coasters out there in the world might be missing from this list. I still haven't made it overseas thanks to Rona, so there will be no international coasters on this countdown. I will put in the description below a list of all the theme parks that I have been to, so you can see which coasters I chose from. All right, now that we've kind of set the groundwork, I think it's time to get into this countdown. At number 20, we have Monster at Adventureland in Altoona, Iowa. This is a Gerstlauer Infinity model that is 133 feet tall, has a drop that is at an angle of 101 degrees, so beyond vertical, and it features 5 inversions. Now, even after all the huge additions, Monster still makes the list this year, and for good reasons. It is a very unique style ride with the ability to have inversions that somehow feature snappiness and hang time in the same element. It's such a weird thing. This coaster truly has some of my favorite inversions, and it has a nerve-wracking first drop. Monster alone makes me want to take the 6-hour trip back to Adventureland, and that is why it hangs on to the number 20 spot. At number 19, we have the debut of Storm Runner from Hersheypark to the countdown. Storm Runner is an Intamin acceleration coaster with a launch of 72 miles per hour in just 2 seconds, and it has a drop height of 180 feet. Sudden launches are the best way to get a quick adrenaline rush, and Storm Runner has that fantastic launch. But it's not just the launch that brings the excitement, it's also the top hat that gives an incredible dose of ejector airtime and those super twisty inversions. It is a very short ride, which keeps the coaster from being ranked higher, but the elements that it does have are so good that Storm Runner still makes it to number 19 on the list. Moving on to number 18, we have Nitro at Six Flags Great Adventure. This B&M Hyper Coaster model has a height of 230 feet, a top speed of 80 miles per hour, and a track length of 5,394 feet. I first rode Nitro back in 2019, and last year I was fortunate enough to get back to Great Adventure for another 2 rides in 2021. And those 2 rides really solidified for me that this is my favorite B&M hypercoaster currently. The experience, for whatever reason, just seems more aggressive than the other B&M hypers like Mako, Candemonium, and Diamondback. It also has so many airtime hills, plus a fantastic helix thrown in there as well. Nitro is just a super fun ride to me, and it has the perfect amount of floater airtime, and that's why it's at number 18 on this countdown. All right, quickly moving through the list, we're at number 17 now, and we have Phoenix from Knoebels. My first ride on Phoenix in 2021 blew me away. The airtime is fantastic, but it has less to do with the forces and more to do with the restraints that give you crazy amounts of room to really fly around in your seat. And that isn't a figure of speech. There are moments where you are literally not touching your seat anymore. It's just a wild sensation. Now, Phoenix doesn't have much in the way of variety or that out-of-control transitions, but the floater airtime is good enough to make it onto this list, and that is why Phoenix is at number 17. Let's jump to number 16, and we have Ravine Flyer 2 at Waldameer, another new credit from 2021. If you haven't seen my top 10 coasters in Pennsylvania video yet, I'd probably pause this video and go watch that one real quick to avoid spoilers, but in that video, I said Ravine Flyer 2 is pretty much a miniature version of the Voyage at Holiday World. It has relentless pacing, sudden heavily banked turns, surprising airtime, and just an overall out-of-control experience. All of this done on just a smaller scale from the Voyage. It even has several tunnels and head choppers too, which really adds to the experience. I will say Ravine Flyer 2 and the Voyage have made me big fans of their manufacturer, Gravity Group, and I can't wait to ride more of their coasters in the future. I'm looking at you, Hades 360. All right, at number 15, we have the Legend at Holiday World. I've been going to Holiday World since 2016, and the Legend has always been a coaster that I have felt is super underrated. Not many enthusiasts have this coaster on their countdown. Heck, I didn't even have Legend in my top 15 last year, but after 2021's Hollywood Nights, I fell in love with this coaster all over again. The Legend has the best lateral forces of any coaster I have been on. The helixes have you pinned to the side of your seat for what feels like forever. Plus, the aggression almost matches the other major wooden coaster in the park, the Voyage. But where this coaster shines is the amazing night ride it provides. You cannot see a single thing back there in the woods, and with the amount of momentum you carry, you just feel helpless to the will of this ride. Legend is definitely not an experience you want to pass up on your visit to Holiday World. All right, coming in at number 14, we have the return of Lightning Run at Kentucky Kingdom, the infamous Hyper GTX model from Chance Rides. Lightning Run only has a height of 100 feet and a top speed of 55 miles per hour, but has some of the craziest elements and transitions out there. The oddly shaped airtime hills give you a great mixture of laterals and airtime. Oh, and that airtime is strong ejector airtime. Plus, the track is so intertwined with itself that you feel like you're constantly going to hit your head on a support beam or other parts of the track. Lightning Run is proof that you don't have to be a super tall or super fast ride to be an amazing fun coaster. All right, let's switch up to number 13 on the list, and we have the debut of Twisted Cyclone at Six Flags Over Georgia, the first of many Rocky Mountain construction roller coasters you will see on this list. Twisted Cyclone is wild from beginning to end. It has great airtime moments, but also has other fun elements such as the step-up underflip, wave turn, and barrel roll down drop. The ride is short and small, but the airtime, pacing, and variety was so good, I could not keep Twisted Cyclone off this list. This coaster was my favorite ride at Six Flags Over Georgia, and my 13th favorite coaster overall. On to number 12, we have a ride that actually moved up spots from my countdown last year, and that is Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. This Mack Extreme spinning coaster is one of the most unique roller coasters in the country and has grown on me every year. I was there for opening year in 2018. I'll be honest, I wasn't super impressed after the first ride, but after leaving the 2021 season, it is quickly becoming one of my favorites to marathon. One reason I think this coaster has grown on me so much is that I never get bored of the layout because it is always changing. The controlled free spin mechanic gives you a brand new experience every ride. On top of that, the inversions are exciting, especially if you go into them sideways or backwards, and that first drop, oh my gosh, one of the most terrifying drops you will experience out there as you are completely vertical and sideways and backwards. It's just insane. Time Traveler is a stellar experience that I haven't found anywhere else, and that is why it's moved up on my countdown to number 12. All right, let's move on to number 11, which is probably the most shocking, and that is Magnum XL 200 at Cedar Point. I don't know what it is, but I absolutely love the first ever coaster to break the 200-foot barrier. This Aero Hyper just has the perfect level of jankiness. The back half of the layout has some of the weirdest airtime I've ever experienced. The hills feel like they are triangle shaped that initiate painful but amazing negative G-forces. Because of these weird hills, the ride is very unique to me, plus the ride feels like it has a long duration, which are all pluses in my book. So if you put all this together, it's really no shock that Magnum XL 200 was ranked number 8 on my countdown in 2020 and holds on to the number 11 spot at the end of the 2021 season. Okay, we have made it to the top 10, and starting us off at number 10 is Outlaw Run at Silver Dollar City, an RMC wooden coaster. Outlaw Run has a drop height of 162 feet and 3 inversions. The first drop is not only fantastic for the scenic views of the Ozarks, but for the strong stomach-dropping sensation during the plummet. The pacing of Outlaw Run is fantastic, and there are no slow points until the end. And of course, I have to mention the hang time-filled double barrel roll, which is one of the most iconic finales out there. Outlaw Run is good during the day, but the experience doubles in excitement once the sun goes down. You literally have no vision when you race through the trees. Outlaw Run is special to me as it was my first RMC, and with Silver Dollar City only being a few hours away, I have had the chance to ride Outlaw Run more than any other coaster in the world. And after nearly 100 laps on the ride, I am definitely not close to being bored of it. Okay, heading over to number 9, we have Phantom's Revenge at Kennywood, earning the same spot on the countdown from 2020. Phantom's Revenge used to be an aero looping coaster, but was transformed by Morgan into a hyper masterpiece. It has a drop height of 228 feet and a speed of 85 miles per hour. What I really love about Phantom's Revenge is that it uses the terrain, which gives you that wooden roller coaster feel, but with smooth steel track. You have sudden turns, big hills, and head choppers galore. But the best ingredient of this hypercoaster is the strong airtime. My favorite moment is the double down towards the end that just absolutely flings you around in your seat. Now, because of the use of terrain, Phantom's Revenge really enhances the experience at night as you lose all vision in the darkness. Just be sure to watch out for the bugs and you'll have an incredible time. Let's move on to number 8, which is El Toro at Six Flags Great Adventure, dropping 2 spots from last year. El Toro is the only Intamin prefab wooden coaster that I've been on, and it really has given me the desire to go overseas and ride the other ones. With a height of 181 feet and a top speed of 70 miles per hour, El Toro has some impressive stats for a wooden coaster, and the experience truly matches the stats. The first drop feels like it lasts forever, and it's super steep. Then it follows up with hill after hill, launching you into the lap bar. My favorite element is probably the Rolling Thunder Hill, as the severity of the airtime just seems to come out of nowhere, and during my first experience, it completely threw me off guard. Now, I'll have to admit, I've only had the chance to ride El Toro twice in my life, and I've never really gotten a back or front seat. I think if I get the opportunity to ride this wooden giant more, it will move up in my rankings. All right, time for number 7 on my list, and that is Storm Chaser at Kentucky Kingdom, dropping from number 4 in 2020. This RMC iBox coaster is low to the ground and extreme. When looking at the coaster from the outside, it doesn't look super impressive, but once you're on it, you can't help but be blown away. The barrel roll drop has some exciting feelings of twisting, hanging, and weightlessness. Then a great mixture of inversions, high-speed turns, and airtime follows. My favorite moment is, of course, the trick track double up. The best word to describe the airtime in this element is violent. So many moments on this ride where your body loses trust in the restraints and you hold on to the lap bar. The name Storm Chaser is fitting because the coaster seems to simulate what it would be like to get caught up in a tornado, and that is why it is at number 7. Transitioning to number 6 on the list, we have Maverick at Cedar Point. This Intamin Blitz coaster had me in awe from the first ride. I remember being in the front seat at night, and after cresting the first drop, feeling like I just got shot out of a cannon as I was zipping through the rocks and the trees. Everything seemed to be a blur as we rushed through the layout. If you want the formula for an out-of-control experience, Maverick's layout combined with its pacing is it. Honestly, I had to go back and watch the POV to understand what elements I did because everything seemed like a blur. And let's not forget that incredible launch under the station halfway through the ride. That moment just added another burst of intensity to an already incredible layout. Maverick is another coaster that deceives you with its smaller look. I have had many friends tell me that they weren't expecting much from Maverick and that they were so surprised with how crazy it was. This is a big reason Maverick only drops 1 spot this year and jumps ahead of Storm Chaser in my rankings. All right, let's crack into our top 5, and we have Lightning Rod at Dollywood, moving down 2 spots from number 3 in 2020. This RMC wooden coaster was recently transformed into an RMC iBox coaster in 2021. I was fortunate enough to be able to try out the new track, and in my opinion, not much has changed from the experience other than it being a little smoother. Now, my first ride on Lightning Rod was in 2019, and I absolutely loved it, even though the launch wasn't as fast as it was in the first few seasons. The upwards launch is such a new experience for me, and it is a way better way to get to the first drop than just a boring chain lift. Another wonderful thing about Lightning Rod is that it fits so perfectly into the Smoky Mountains that you truly couldn't replicate its layout anywhere else. Although Lightning Rod does feel a little short, the intensity throughout the journey and the uniqueness of the layout has earned it a number 5 spot. Heading to number 4, we have Velocicoaster at Universal Studios. This Intamin coaster not only is well themed, but it is a thrill seeker's dream. It offers everything you desire in a coaster: high-speed launches, big drops, tight turns, sudden ejector air, intense pacing, and inversions that make you feel like you're gonna fall out of the ride. You take all of that, but then you add the modern high-tech trains, which feel very comfortable, and mix it with a high level of theming, and you have yourself a world-class attraction. Now, I'm gonna be releasing my vlog on my first experience and my full in-depth review in upcoming videos, so I don't wanna spoil it, but with it being number 4 on this countdown, I think it's safe to say I really love this coaster. It was my most anticipated credit of 2021, and it did not disappoint me one bit. And to think I have 3 coasters ranked ahead of this one tells you how amazing the next 3 rides are. So let's get into that top 3, and I want to start off by disclosing that all 3 coasters were in consideration for my number 1 spot this year. I really had to take some time and decide which order to put them in, and here's what I chose. At number 3, we have Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point, dropping 1 spot from number 2 in 2020's countdown. Although I don't have this coaster ranked as my number 1 like many others do, it truly deserves the hype that it gets. To me, it is clearly the best design ever from RMC. They absolutely killed this remake of Mean Streak and delivered everything we hoped for as an enthusiast. This ride is not only tall and has all the airtime you could dream of, but the ride goes on forever and ever. It has insane amounts of negative G-forces and easily features some of the best inversions of any RMC I've experienced. For someone who craves ejector airtime, it might be surprising to hear that my favorite element on this coaster is the second inversion. Somehow the snappiness is so insane that my arms accidentally hit my sister in the face on our first ride, and that truly made it a memorable moment for me. I could go on and on about Steel Vengeance, but I wouldn't be adding anything different than what you have heard from every other YouTuber out there. So let me just say that if you haven't experienced Steel Vengeance yet, then you need to make your way to Cedar Point and try it out in 2022. So what could barely beat out Steel Vengeance? Well, for me, it is a coaster that features the most intense ejector airtime of any coaster that I've been on, and that is Sky Rush at Hersheypark. I didn't know what to expect from this Intamin mega coaster when I visited Hersheypark in 2021. I heard so many mixed reviews that I didn't know if I'd like it. But after the first airtime hill where I thought I was flying out of the ride, I immediately held on for dear life all the way to the brake run. And from then, I was hooked. In my opinion, the airtime on Sky Rush is just on its own level when it comes to intensity. And that is not just on one hill, but every single hill and turn on the ride provides the same level of intense airtime. I mean, even the Stangle Dive had incredible negative G-forces. Let's just say that this airtime is so powerful that it bruises your thighs from all the pressure of your legs against the lap bar. Now, I understand for some the pain of the restraints is not worth the ride, but for me, it didn't bother me enough to ruin the experience. I mean, I truly couldn't get enough of it. I would exit the station and immediately have the desire to go ride again. Sky Rush to me is a one-of-a-kind experience that nearly kicked off my number 1 coaster from last year, but if you have been watching this channel for a while, you know that my number 1 coaster is gonna be hard to beat. Even with the addition of over 100 credits in the last 5 years, I still haven't found a ride that beats The Voyage at Holiday World, my number 1 coaster. Built by Gravity Group in 2006, it has a height of 159 feet, a speed of 67 miles per hour, and an insane track length of 6,442 feet. The Voyage, in my mind, is the perfect roller coaster. The ride has so many facets to it that you truly get a taste of everything. The layout starts out like a hypercoaster, giant camelback hills with that floating sensation. Then, out of nowhere, the Voyage changes into an out-of-control blitz coaster that zips through the woods at an incredible pace. With how thick the woods are, you can't really see far ahead of you, so there is no chance to prepare your body or mind for what is upcoming. You constantly get tossed around at a moment's notice, and it really builds the adrenaline. Then after a brief pause, you enter the Triple Down, completely enclosed in a tunnel. I mean, how many coasters offer that? And then it's that long zigzag trek back to the station with 90-degree bank turns and twisted airtime hills. The ride already has it all, and then you try it at night, and the experience is just life-changing. I really have not experienced a coaster that is as terrifying as the Voyage at night. Even with the trims on, the experience is almost too insane. Like, there have been times where I question if the ride is gonna be able to hold together with how powerful it moves through the layout. I have ridden the Voyage well over 50 times, and there has never been a ride on it that was less exciting than the first one. It has been my #1 since 2016, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it hold the #1 spot for years to come. So this was my countdown of my top 20 roller coasters that I've ridden so far. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. I am really excited to get into the 2022 season to add more credits and see if there are any coasters out there that can give Voyage a run for its money. Now that I've revealed my list, I want to see your top 10 coaster list. I really love seeing which coasters people have in their top 10, whether you've been on 15 coasters or 1,500 coasters. So please leave your top 10s in the comments. I'd love to read them. Now, if you enjoyed this ranking video, I have plenty more on my channel. I will drop a link to the playlist in the description below, along with my video picking the top 10 new roller coasters opening in 2022, which you can check out in the card above. Also, if you like this video, give it a like and subscribe to Destination Thrills, as we are the destination for all the latest theme park news, countdowns, and content. I'm Cullah Hale. Thank you so much for watching. Stay safe out there and have a good one.